Stage 14 was just the warm-up day for the big mountains, with only the steep and narrow Mur de Péguerre to really test the riders before a downhill run to the finish in Foix.
Cadel Evans has launched an attack. Immediately they've got onto the steep section. Bradley Wiggins is watching the movement. He's been caught about 7 riders back, but Vincenzo Nibali is also there, along with Pierre Rolland.
Yeah, Pierre Rolland in the dark green jersey and the green helmet there in 4th position. The winner a couple of days ago to La Toussuire. Moved up there now. Chris Froome is on the wheel of the yellow jersey. So for the moment, Bradley Wiggins has not shown any fear of the attack from Cadel Evans.
We're on the climb of the Mur de Péguerre. We've never seen this climb in the Tour de France before, but some of these riders have. They came here to reconnoitre it. They know how steep it is. And Cadel Evans has gone to the front, but I'm not sure he can push home his advantage.
But he'll try, and he will try and go over the top of this climb in 1st position and then try and do something on the descent. Sandy Cassar picked up 10 points over the top of the climb, 3rd over the top of a 1st category climb.
Unbelievable.
Peter Sagan.
And it is Federico Canuti who is the rider on the left of our picture here, setting the pace for Liquigas. So that means that Nibali is waiting to pounce. Looks like Frank Schleck has moved up on the left. It's amazing how the form has turned around. He was 2 minutes behind over the top of the very first mountain of the day.
Well, moving around the outside, Team Sky trying to get themselves control. They want to be the ones who can set the pace, and that, of course, is Richie Porte on the left-hand side there, moving to the front of the peloton once again. You know what Team Sky have done on a lot of these climbs, Phil? They've actually asphyxiated the opposition by setting a steady tempo. And as Cadel Evans says, once the Team Sky get that long, organised line of riders on the front, it's very difficult to change the pace.
So Cassar is heading up the race still alone after he crossed the top of the mountain in 1st place. He saw he had a measurable gap. He's giving it a go. Absolutely typical move by the Frenchman, this, and it could well result in 1st place, but not if Peter Sagan has his ideas.
This is the 2nd chase on the road. These riders are in 2nd and 3rd place on the road. They're only 10 seconds behind Sandy Cassar.
As they continue to come down, listen to the wind now whip down there. This is where Sagan will come into his own, and so too Izagirre. Look at the style now of Sagan.
Well, look at the little gap that Izagirre went through there. Just around the corner, it's only 10 seconds separates them from Sandy Cassar, and 10 seconds further back is Gilbert and Sanchez.
The first 4 riders on the leaderboard so far in the Tour de France are all riding alongside each other there just now, and they're using what's left of their climbing domestiques to keep the pace up. Now it's all breathe in on this narrow section of the road. Our camera, as you can see, they can't get through to the front. He's trapped here at the back. You can see the yellow jersey of Sky. Nibali is the rider immediately to the yellow jersey's right, number 51.
They're about to make the junction here, and Peter Sagan is the one who's doing the bulk of the pacemaking to catch up with Sandy Cassar.
Puts all his weight over that bicycle now to get every ounce of speed out of it, saving energy. Cassar's looked over his shoulder. He's seen the arrival, and look how fast he's going as he brakes hard, checks it, and goes through on the inside and kicks. And Sandy Cassar, in the flash of an eyelid, is now on the defensive.
Well, now it's turning the tables around, isn't it? Because Peter Sagan is going to put the hammer down on this descent to make sure that Luis Leon Sanchez and Philippe Gilbert don't come back.
A little bit disappointing with the peloton here because nobody has hit out at Bradley Wiggins on this climb.
In 1st position, that's Richie Porte from Australia and Tasmania. In 2nd position, Chris Froome. And 3rd position, the man who has the yellow jersey very firmly on his shoulders, Bradley Wiggins. And it looked as if that was Mick Rogers trying to come across the gap there. Could well be that Mick Rogers was slightly badly placed when this race started to split up. At the back of that group in the red and white jersey was in fact the yellow jersey. And coming up here now, 108, great comeback by Mick Rogers. Well, one thing, Phil, that is making Team Sky almost unbeatable is the fact that they've got such a strong nucleus in their team. They've got Richie Porte, Mick Rogers. Mick Rogers, I think, was badly placed at the start of this climb, but he's ridden past all of the guys who were dropped, and he's got himself back into this lead group. And very shortly, you'll probably see him on the front of the lead group. While we go back to Peter Sagan, he's not taking any prisoners.
Now you see what we meant. This guy, he's uncontrollable once he gets going downhill, an ex-bouncing biker as well, and a cyclocross rider, as he now puts everything he can into that. He waits till the last minute to slam those brakes on. This is a real fast descent. You can talk at speeds here of 60 miles an hour, 100 kilometers an hour down here.
Yeah, it was through the Pyrenees a couple of years ago that Thor Hushovd's computer registered 117 kilometers an hour.
And Sandy Cassar is thinking, and if you think, then you lose ground, that's for sure.
Yeah, he's lost his fluidity going around those corners. The two chasers, Phil, the reason why Sagan is riding like this, like a madman, is the two chasers are only at 12 seconds, and I still think they're going to come back.
Well, it's not all there. They are. Let's have a look. They're going around which looks like the same bends a few moments ago taken by Sagan. And Gilbert showing his skill on the descent as well. 14:59. The time gap behind hasn't moved for ages. And Sagan, the lead of this race on points, could well be accelerating his lead even further ahead. Meanwhile, at the front, the pacemaking being done by the leader of the Tour de France now. Bradley Wiggins tapping out the rhythm, which will frighten all of his rivals away.
Well, I think he just wants to be safe at the front end of this group. He doesn't want to ride in second or third position, and he's doing honour to the yellow jersey here this afternoon on his shoulder there. Vincenzo Nibali, his closest challenger apart from his own team. He doesn't look very happy at all, Wiggins. I'm not quite sure. He keeps nodding his head.
So Rui Costa's had a rear wheel puncture at the back. We're just listening to all the agonised screams from the race radio.
Right, Wiggins now over the top. Nibali, Richie Porte, Zubeldia, all the big names are in this group, and just coming back into the group there, it looked as if Andries Kloden had just made it. Oh, Evans has had a flat tyre at the top of the climb. Cadel Evans is waiting for the neutral service vehicle. He's got a back flat tyre now. This is a disaster for him because the cars are all over. The cars are behind riders who've been dropped. Cadel Evans is losing a huge amount of time here. He's going to have to wait a long, long time for a spare wheel. He's got to wait for the next car of the day. Well, I don't know what happened there. It was a flat back tyre at the top of the climb, but Phil, the team cars are so far behind because there's a lot of riders have been dropped. And in fact, the Mavic team car then all of a sudden has stopped, and he hasn't even got a teammate near him to change.
This is amazing. This is not deserved as the riders are going over the summit. Cadel Evans is left standing there, a very lonely figure indeed, waving at everybody who approaches. You've seen a teammate coming up now, and the teammate's got his wheel out straight away as he gets Steve Cummings, in fact, who's giving him a wheel. But now we've got two riders in trouble.
Well, I really don't know. This is unbelievable. Where are the rest of his teammates, Phil? This is the problem with Cadel Evans' teammates. He's got so many guys who are great on the flat. Here's there's absolute pandemonium on board BMC Racing.
Well, a minute has ticked by Cadel Evans. It's all downhill, but to bridge a minute now, this I don't think is possible. Look at this now. The teammates with the other teammate is Amael Moyar come to the right. He seems to have a problem as well, and there's two. We've left two. Now we've got Cummings going away with him.
No, that's Hincapie.
No, it's not.
George
that's Hincapie
Hincapie
going with him.
Well, Hincapie stopped at the side of the road there, waited for Evans, and I think Evans needs to wait for Hincapie because he will be a great assistance on the descent.
Now, this is Wiggins now talking to the riders, trying to sort things out at the front. He knows about the chaos at the back. Is he saying, let's hang back for Cadel? What do you reckon?
I have no idea what is going on at the moment. Cadel Evans has lost over a minute, but you know what? Jaimar Zubeldia has just had a flat tyre as well. He's the best placed rider from Radio Shack in 6th place overall, but he was given his wheel given a wheel by a teammate.
But the peloton's freewheeling here. It's almost as if there might have been a situation on the road there that caused all these problems. I don't know, but it looks to me as though Wiggins, as the race leader, is backing the pace off.
Yeah, but Pierre Rolland is not. He wants to have a little bit of action here this afternoon.
He speaks French.
Yeah, he's not heard what the rest of the guys said. They're going to let him go.
Well, he's launched an attack. I mean, with the leaders, we're now under 20 kilometres from the finish. The gap is 15.5 minutes, still going up. There is another repair there on the far side of the road. It's Cadel now, desperate moments. The mechanic can't even get up. It's Jim Okovic who can't even get up out of the ditch. It's so slippery.
Well, they're taking an awful lot of time. It happens when you get the panic situation like this. Evans is back up again, and he's there. The leader of the King of the Mountains classification is there in that group. That's probably going to have cost him, Phil, a good 1.5 minutes now. If you add the minute at the top to the 30 seconds he had to change there. Pierre Rolland, the winner of the stage to La Toussuire, he's taking off on his own. Cadel Evans is currently 2 minutes behind the yellow jersey group.
We're hearing now of another, for a Saxo Bank rider, also had a flat tyre. There's got to be a reason. There wouldn't be this many of flat tyres coming over the top of that climb, because there's another flat tyre being called from the car now for a Rabobank rider. Team Sky are just organising the race at the front. 16.5 kilometres to go now, just over 10 miles to the finish. Sandy Cassar here still in the hunt, but so too is the green jersey.
Wiggins has a problem as well.
We're hearing a call. We're hearing a call from Sky for Wiggins. There's the leaders on the descent at the moment. It's a rear wheel for Wiggins. He's also punctured. There he is at the bottom of the group there. Sky car with the blue stripe waiting to get through to him.
I think he's actually just calling his car up. That was a flat tyre for a Radio Shack rider, actually, Phil. I think he's calling the team management forward because he wants to have a word with Sean Yates, the team manager.
Well, let's have a look. Wiggins dropping back to the team car. This is amazing. The race leader falling back when Pierre Roland is pushing home his advantage off the front of this group. It isn't a flat tyre, Paul, you're right. He's just, or is it? I'm not sure. I think he has got a flat tyre. He's just told them he wants a rear wheel.
Well, they're actually going to take his bike off. You see the mechanic sits on the right-hand side of the car because he gets out of there very quickly, comes up alongside the team leader. The leader has a very quick change, that very well thought out. There was no panic on board the SkyTrain.
So this is incredible in the closing kilometres of the day, which looks so routine. Bunch at one end, a breakaway at the front end, and the race leaders in all sorts of bother here at the moment.
Immediately a teammate up alongside him. That looked very much like the shape of Richie Porte to me. He will have stopped as soon as he got his problem at the side of the road, and now he will try and pace him back into the race.
Well, in case you've forgotten, there's still a race for first place in foix, and these are the three leaders here.
Yes, just as a quick reminder, that was Gorka Izagirre with Peter Sagan and Sandy Cassar, and they have still not been caught by these two chasers who have chased since the top of the climb. It's only 4 seconds, the official time gap. Well, total chaos. I have to figure out, there must have been something on the road. So Wiggins got his teammate Richie Porte right in front of him there. Very shortly he'll be back in the main field. He will get back very quickly. Now all of a sudden it is regrouped at the front, 5 riders together.
So 16 minutes, the gap has gone up with the leaders. 5 of them are now together again on the descent, and Peter Sagan in the green jersey, the sprinter, is still with them after 2 goals.
Well, the funny thing is, Phil, I am wondering if somebody has thrown something onto the roads. I do know that many, many years ago in the old Tour de France history in the 1920s and 1930s, they actually threw tacks onto the road. And I wonder if somebody's done that this afternoon, because I cannot understand why there are so many flat tyres in the space of 5 kilometres.
Obviously, it'll come out only overnight in the press, but certainly it seems strange. But unfortunately, it picked out the best riders in the Tour de France, which has to be an amazing coincidence.
Yeah, well, anyway, Cadel Evans is still around about a minute behind, but he's got 3 teammates with him. One of those is George Hincapie. This is the group Evans. They're at 17 minutes and 17 seconds, so they're now, Phil, probably only about 45 seconds behind the yellow jersey group.
And I am certain that Wiggins will keep that group freewheeling until the chase group rejoins the pack, and they'll come home together in the same time. Well, there you are, Paul. There's no doubt. It's all go slow. They're waiting for the Evans group to return.
And then they will set off in pursuit of Pierre Roland, because Pierre Roland at the moment is 1 minute and 40 seconds ahead of the Wiggins group. But if they made a decision, and it seems to be as if it was a joint decision, to wait for Cadel Evans to come back into the main field, they will chase down Pierre Roland with a vengeance.
So we're looking now at the green jersey. There are 5 riders in the lead, and these 5 riders are going to fight out the finish in about 12 kilometres time in the town of Foix.
Oh, it stopped again.
And as we cut to live pictures again, Evans is stopping for a 3rd time. That looked like a front wheel this time.
Well, there is a lot of riders, Phil, have had multiple flat tyres. Maxime Montfort had a front and back flat tyre. Cadel Evans has had the same. There's another flat tyre at the side. This is chaos.
It's got to be something like tacks on the road. There's no way they would normally on a road like this.
Now this is a good move. This is the only way to beat Peter Sagan. Luis Leon Sanchez has gone alone. Well, he knew that this was what he had to do, and this was the only way these guys are going to beat Peter Sagan this afternoon, because if you take the rider from Slovakia to the finish line, he will show you a clean pair of wheels.
So the situation, 11 kilometres out from the finish, Luis Leon Sanchez attacks his group of 5. Cadel Evans is having the nightmare ride of his life.
None of this affected the day's breakaway, which itself had been the subject of a breakaway. Luis Leon Sanchez had attacked from a 5-man group on the run into Foix and had time to start his celebrations the best part of 1 kilometre from the finish line. Having waited for Evans, it was another 18 minutes or so before the pack rolled in, and by then it was clear that a person or persons unknown had sabotaged the race by spreading carpet tacks across the road at the top of the final climb.
3 punctures. Yeah. All tacks, I think. Nails, protesters or some kind-hearted people on the road trying to ruin my season.
Michael, what was there at the top of that climb? Were there tacks on the road?
Yeah, something was on the road. I cannot see. I go 70 km an hour. So
There was something there.
definitely. I saw 20 punctures minimum. So
Cadell appeared to puncture twice and had to stop 3 times. You obviously got wind of that and called a truce to things.
Yeah, I just thought it was the honourable thing to do, really, because no one wants to benefit through someone else's misfortune. So, yeah, 1 or 2 guys were still adamant on racing and, you know, made their point, even though Cadell was behind. But, you know, at the end of the day, you know, when the shoe's on the other foot, you know, no one wants to be in that position. So, yeah, I thought it was the best thing to do.
Ce sont les clous qui ont été ramassés par les équipes dans les pneus, dans les boyaux des coureurs. Donc il y en avait 2 ou 3 par boyau et les directeurs sportifs me les ont ramenés. Voilà, ça a été jeté probablement juste avant le passage du peloton. Et sur les 50 coureurs qu'il y avait en tête, il y en a une trentaine qui ont crevé, dont tous les favoris, tous les leaders, personne n'a été épargné. Et il y a même un coureur qui est à l'hôpital, enfin qui a clavicule cassée à cause d'une bêtise, à cause de ça, oui.
Qu'est-ce qu'il faut faire maintenant pour le Tour? C'est une question pour la gendarmerie?
Ah oui, faut surveiller les gens, il y avait des barrières, il y avait tout en plus. Donc en plus on ne sait pas exactement où c'est. Est-ce que c'est avant? Est-ce que c'est 100 mètres avant le sommet? Est-ce que c'est au sommet? Est-ce que on peut pas mettre un gendarme derrière chaque personne. Donc voilà, c'est la bêtise humaine.
Well, malice perhaps rather than stupidity, remedied in Cadell Evans' case by an act of decency from the yellow jersey, which the Tour's senior man on the road, Jean-Francois Pecheur, thanked him for after the race. So Evans remained in 4th, 3 minutes 19 behind the race leader in a top 8, unchanged by the day's outside intervention. Bradley Wiggins was heading for an 8th straight day in yellow and looking more comfortable in the role of leader and all-round peloton spokesman that goes with it.
99% of the public who are here to watch the race love the sport and are there for the right reasons. You're always going to get a very, very small minority that are there just to cause trouble or whatever, you know. So it is unfortunate, and there's enough police on this race to hopefully find them people and you know, send them to a football match or something.